Please be seated. The court is now back in session. And before I hand the floor to the defense counsel for Nguyen Chi to continue putting further questions to the witness, the chamber would like to remind the two defense teams that you have 1.5 sessions remained for tomorrow morning, so that you are sure of the remaining time and that you can decide among yourselves on the use of the remaining time for questioning the witness. You may proceed, counsel.
So 1.5 tomorrow, including today. Yeah, oh, then it's clear. Yes, Mr. President. Allow me to revisit the matter of who decided on the execution of prisoners in S21. I have now had the time to find the references made by Duik. As a matter of fact, he speaks about this in 3 different times. So, Mr. Witness, you were very clear in your testimony that it was Duik who decided who should be executed. Let me direct your attention to E3/452, Khmer ERN 00146554, English 00147567-68, and French 00147930. Duik describes an incident with a prisoner named Sung Sani, Sun Sari. He repeats talking about that incident also in E3/5801. That's his testimony in case 1 of 17 June 2009 at 9:28 in the morning. And he also refers to it in his own written explanation, E3/1570, English ERN 00154201. Now, all these references, as I said, is a description about an incident of a person named Sung Sari, who was executed, but whose interrogation had not finished yet. The question of the investigating judge is to Duik is as follows. Many have said that you decided everything. And then Duik answers, at first, taking prisoners out to smash, that was Comrade Hoare who made the decisions without it being necessary to tell me. Then he describes the incident with Sung Sari, and then he says, Son Sen instructed to have Hoare ask my opinion first. Let me read to you what he said in his testimony in this trial chamber. Your Honor, there are 2 phases of this matter. The first phase, that is before the incident that a prisoner was killed, before the confession was completed. It was done by Comrade Hoare in order not to overburden the workload. And at that time, the detainees were only in reasonable number. After that incident of Sun Sari, alias Brav, and the confession was cut off, he was warned by the superior, and that was the time that anyone who was interrogated and finished, then Comrade would come to me and report it to me. I acknowledged that the interrogation was complete, and it was the order from the superior that they would be only taken only after the confessions were extracted. And in that explanation of that written document, in his written document E3157, he also talks about two phases. First stage was Comrade Hoare preparing a plan and arranging the transport out at his own initiative. And then the second phase as described. So again, Mr. Witness, and then we're done with that subject. Here Duik says very clearly it was Hoare who decided about the execution, and that Duik only advised Hoare about interrogations being finished. Is that correct or incorrect, what Duik said?
I was aware of that matter. However, as I said, though Ho could only act upon getting permission from the upper echelon, that is from Dutch, as Ho worked under Dutch.
Okay, now let me move on to my next subject, Mr. Witness. I would like to show you a document which is in your binder. Document E3/8648, English ERN 00292816, Khmer 0028847, and French 00303515. And if we can put it on the screen as well, Mr. President, that would be helpful.
Judge Levin, you have the floor.
I would like to take this opportunity, while the document is not yet placed on the screen, to tell Mr. Kope that the interpreters are requesting that you should slow down because they have a hard time hearing what you're saying.
No problem at all. So it's document E3/8648, Khmer ERN 00288471, English 00292816, and French 00303515. Mr. Witness, do you see this document? And on the screen, please.
Yes, I see the document. I did not make this document because in Tuxline prison there was no list of released prisoners.
That's very interesting. Do you agree with me that the title of the document is Names of People Released on 26 November 1977 / Division 920?
Keep the document on the screen, please, ITU, as long as we deal with it.
I understood that as soon as they have me or you on camera, they have to switch, it seems. That's why they take it away. Here it is. Or maybe not, I don't know. Mr. Witness, do you agree with me that the title of this document is Names of People Released on 26 November 1977, Division 920?
This is not the list made by our guard unit.
Who made this list?
There were 3 offices that draw up the list, namely the rice farming unit, the interrogator unit, and the guard unit. And through my knowledge, there was no list of prisoners who were released.
Oh, well, that's what you say to your knowledge, but isn't this a fact, a document of release of 100 Division 920 members? Can you help us? Who is the author, if you know, of this document?
At my unit, this kind of list did not exist. This list could be made by external unit or other unit regarding the list, the names of prisoners who were released.
Can you explain why that is? What makes you say this is not a document from your unit? Could it be a document of Meng's office?
When I made a report, I did not have any list of names of people who were released. And at our office, there was no such list.
Then again, the question, from which unit is this list?
But Counsel, given what he has said, you are inviting him to speculate. He says, I don't know. That's my understanding.
Let me ask it in a way that it's not asking for speculation. Is my understanding correct that you do not know who made this list?
That is true.
Let me move on to the next document that I would like to show you. That is document E3/1555, 10555. Mr. President, there's only a Khmer version of this document, 01219685 to 87, how the Khmer era ends. And if I can have it on the screen, E3/10555. Now, Mr. Witness, it's my understanding that these are two biographies. One is a biography of someone called Cheng Pung, alias Sal, and a biography of a person called Sing Bo Pat, alias Sun. For your reference, Mr. President, these names are mentioned in the OCIJ list under 14,886 and 14,888. And it's my understanding, and I hope you can help me, Mr. Witness, that both these persons were sent to the rice fields. Do you see on the right upper part of both documents, that these people were sent on the 5th of March 78, quote unquote, to the rice fields.
I did not know about prisoners who were sent to the rice field. Or maybe my memory does not serve me well, since this matter happened several years ago.
Do you recognize the handwriting where it says sent to the rice fields?
I cannot recall whose handwriting it is.
Do you know what it means, sent to the rice fields? Which rice fields?
Sending to the rice fields, it means that it will be sent to S21D.
And these two biographies, are these S21 documents?
From the format, it should be the biographies of S21, but I was not aware of any instance where prisoners were sent to the rice field.
Let me ask you a general question. How did people end up in the rice fields of Presar? If they were punished for whatever reason and they ended up in S24 or Presar, do you know how they got there?
I did not know the details about people being sent to the rice field, and of course, due to the passage of time, I cannot recall that.
Do you know whether there was a reception area close to the outside perimeter of S21?
There were special forces at the outer perimeter who were present there in order to receive the prisoners.
Do you know if prisoners or people who had arrived at this outside reception building, whether they were sent to Presar, to the rice fields?
I did not know exactly what happened, since prisoners were sent only to that outer part, and I was working inside.
Do you know whether people who were sent to Presar first went inside the premises of Tulsleng, where you worked, in order to be documented and photographed? And once that was done, they were taken out again and sent to Presar?
For people who were sent to be photographed, they were not sent to rice fields, that is to my knowledge.
Your office was in Hoare's office. Is it correct that the photography unit was also in that same building?
Yes, the photography unit and my unit resided in the same place.
And do you recall who the chief of the photography unit was?
I do not recall who the chief was. I knew that there were 2 photographers, but I did not know about the chief.
Does the name Srang or Nim Kim Srang mean anything to you?
I know for sure about the 2 photographers, namely Song and Srim.
Yes, I apologize for my pronunciation, Sring. Let me read to you what Sring has told investigators of the OCIJ. That is document E3/7639. Khmer ERN 00162710, English 00162736, French 00338079. The question to Sring is the following. After their photos were taken, where were the prisoners sent? He said the majority of the prisoners who had been photographed were sent to farm rice. But aside from that, I don't know. Those prisoners sent to farm rice were mostly minor people. I went along and photographed that. I saw that they farmed rice. In that same statement, Sring recalls an incident, Khmer 2 pages before. He says, one day, when I was developing, photos were damaged. And when I requested to retake the photos, I could only find 2 of them. And I asked Duik, brother, the prisoners brought in yesterday, where have they all gone? He said they had all gone to the rice fields. Go photograph them at the rice fields. End of quote. Now Sring is saying that the people who were sent to Presar were first photographed, presumably in your office. Is that correct?
Did not know the details regarding the process of being photographed. It was possible that those people were photographed at the outer section before they were sent to the rice field, and to my understanding, those who were sent inside and their photographs were taken, they were never sent to the rice field.
But where was Sring's office then outside the Tulslang premises? Where did Sring have another place where he could make photos?
It is unclear to me. did not know how the photography was taken at the outer section compared to the photography that was taken inside.
Mr. President, I have, in addition to the binder with documents, also given to Mr. Witness a set of photos, and I would like to show these photos briefly to him and then ask a few questions about this. I also have it on the screen so that you can follow it from there. It is document E3/9214. It consists of 2 parts, and for duty counsel it's the blue binder that I have provided to the witness. So with your permission, I would like to show that binder to the witness.
Yes, your request is granted.
So hopefully it will be on the screen soon. Yeah. Now, Mr. Witness, you see a lot of photos. As a matter of fact, this first part contains about 435 photos. And each photo has something written on the back. My question to you is, can you not only have a look at these photos, but also at the handwriting of the back of these photos? Mr. Witness, do you recognize this handwriting?
No, I do not recall whose handwriting it is.
Do you know whether there was a procedure in general to write on the back of photographs?
It happened a long time ago. I cannot recall the details of the procedure, what is needed to be written down at the back of the photograph, and usually we did not write behind the photograph.
Now, in this first part of that photo book, you see that the people who appear on these photographs, they all have numbers on their clothes. So I'm not referring to that little white number that was done by DC Chem, but I'm referring to the numbers that supposedly these prisoners had while they were being photographed. Do you see those numbers?
Yes, I do.
Can you explain to the court who it was that put those numbers on these prisoners, on these people?
For the number attached to a shirt, I did not know about the process. The number was made by those photographers, and maybe they use it to note something.
But wasn't this number also of importance to you, to make sure that the number on the prisoner's shirt somehow corresponded with the biography that you made?
From what I see in the photo, the number could be the sequential number of the photography of the prisoners. For example, if the photography number 33, then the number 33 would be attached to the shirt of that person.
So the attachment of numbers was something solely within the task of Sring and the photographers, and not yours, correct?
That was the task of the photographers, and that was for them to note down the process.
Now let me, within that same folder, go to the second set of photos. That starts with ERN P01223764. And maybe we can have on the screen this second set of photos. And if we can scroll through it. Mr. Witness, these set of photos come from someone else, but they all have one thing in common. They all use a different way of identifying the particular person. You can see, maybe we can take one example, that rather than having a number on their shirt, they now have a little token indicating the date, indicating their name, and indicating a sequential number. Do you see this?
Yes. The photographers would do whatever they can to whatever they could to note things that they performed.
Do you know how the system that they used worked? Do you know how the numbering that you can see on those tags worked? How did the numbering go? Do you know?
Regarding the numbering by the photographers, usually the numbers would be designated to a prisoner in accordance with the biography. For example, if the person was designated number 3, then I would also include number 3 in the biography.
Do you know if the photographers used a sequence of numbers starting every month, starting every quarter in a year, more particularly 1978. What can you tell us about that system?
Regarding the numbering on the photographs, the photographers were entitled to change the number or the sequential numbers.
But do you know when this system started? When did the photographers start with this system, indicating not only a date of entry, but also a number and a name?
When the prisoners came into that center, I would put the number accordingly, and then the date of the entry of the prisoners would be changed as well, based on the actual date that the prisoners came in, and that was done by the photographers.
But did you and the photographers design a system in 1978 that included first numbering until the end of the month and starting a new number in the beginning of the next month? Or did you do that first in quarters? Do you remember what the system was in 1978?
It depended, and usually it varied. It did not change, for example, once a week or once quarterly. It depended on the incoming prisoners on a daily basis.
But do you recall that in 1978 you started with a quarterly count, and then at one point, presumably April, you started with a monthly count?
I cannot recall well about the numbering of the incoming prisoners, because that happened a long time ago.
I understand, that's no problem. Mr. Witness, let me turn now to combatants being sent for re-education or refashion purposes to something called Kampong Chnang Airport. Do you know anything about this?
I did not know about what happened outside my responsibilities.
Let me see if I can refresh your memory a bit. Mr. Witness, you were asked this question by DC Chem in I don't know exactly when, but it is in the document E3/9320. Khmer year end 000 52 03 21, but I'm not quite sure if that's correct. 0005232, English 00337986, or page 20 of the interview, and French 00280530. Now, the DC Cam interviewer asks you the following question, and let me quote that to you completely. He says, through various interviews, people have told me that prisoners had been put to work at Kampong Chinang Airport. They said they had been imprisoned at the surrounding buildings of Tuol Sleng Prison, not inside Tuol Sleng Prison itself. They claimed to have been brought from different units. They were released and sent to work at Kampong Chinang Airport. Were you aware of this? And then you say, it was not my regular task, therefore I do not know about this. Everything dependent on Duik and Hor. They might be released and sent there, as I knew those who were brought in there hardly survived. And then let me also do the next question. Some people claimed that they had been imprisoned at Tuol Sleng, while others had been imprisoned at Prey Sar. But their photos were there at Tuol Sleng. How could this happen? Their photos were displayed at Tuol Sleng, but they were imprisoned at Prey Sar. Were you aware of this? And then you say no. Now, you do seem to imply, albeit vaguely in your answer, that people might have been released and sent to Kampong Chinang Airport. Is that something that you remember happened?
I cannot remember it well in relation to that issue.
Do you remember ever having heard anything about Kampong Chinang Airport while you were working at S21?
I was at the time working at S21, and I did not know what happened at Kampong Chinang Airport construction site.
Let me now show you a document which is also in your binder. Document E3/8761. And with your permission, Mr. President, I would like to put it on the screen as well. Do you recognize this document, Mr. Witness?
This document was not drawn up by me because my document usually was never included with the types of offenses. I included only occupation or sometimes roles of the categories.
Do you have any idea who made this document?
interrogation unit had the registration unit as well. It worked with document as well.
Now, if my understanding is correct, this is a list of people taken from region 25, 15, 33 and 37. And the last column is a column called crime category. And it mentions things like CIA, White Khmer, spy, bandit, colonel, etc. If you look specifically at that column, are you able to tell who made this list or who might have been responsible?
To my knowledge, this list was done by main unit.
And when did Meng's unit make this list? Was that before S21 was moved to the former or to the present Tuol Sleng premises, or after?
As I indicated that already, I do not know for sure when exactly Tuol Sleng was moved to, S21 was moved to Tuol Sleng. And to my recollection, the list that I drew up never included the crime category.
All right, thank you, Mr. Witness. Let me go back to a document that I showed you before, E3/2100, maybe we can have that on the screen as well, Mr. President. I'm particularly interested in a person under number 20 and 21 of that list. If I'm not mistaken, number 20 is a person called Sao Ken, alias Voon, age 30. He is to be interrogated, but his function is, quote unquote in English, Office 24 Chairman, S21D. Did you know Sao Ken alias Voon being the Office 24 Chairman or belonging to S21D?
To my knowledge, my group was not responsible for drawing up this list. And in one column it says under interrogation, and I think perhaps this list may have been drawn up by Meng's unit, and I do not know who Sao Ken was. And to my recollection, if I am correct, that person was not head of S21D, but perhaps he may have been the head of an office.
Yes, I was equally surprised to see Sao Ken as Office 24 chairman. The same applies to number 21 on that list, Bu Heng, who is referred to as documentation team leader of S21. Did you know Bu Heng?
I told you already. The documentation unit within interrogation unit was not known by me, and as I said, in the interrogation unit there were different subgroups.
I understand that you work closely with Meng, and might have been someone who did maybe the same thing as you, but I don't think we've ever heard of someone called Bu Heng. So that name doesn't ring a bell at all with you.
I cannot recall it. I cannot recall this individual's name. I know the head of the 100-man unit, and for the rest, I have no idea. I was assigned to be based within the prison compound, and I did not focus or concentrate on the tasks or on any individual working outside.
No problem, Mr. Witness. Now, let me turn to 3 documents at the same time. That's a bit complicated, but it is document E3/9898, E3/9897, and E3/2251. So I will repeat: 9898, 9897, and 2251. Do you find it, Mr. Witness?
I have found it.
Now, in these 3 documents, one person is mentioned 3 times. So let me start with E3/2251. Khmer ERN 00086783. If it's correct in your binder, you will see it highlighted. You see that same person in E3/9897, Khmer ERN 010111214, and again in E3/9898 on Khmer ERN 010111226. Now, I'm not so interested in that person itself, but he's mentioned 3 times in 3 different lists. My question to you is, did it happen that prisoners would end up in different kinds of lists?
Can you just give us the name for the record?
What's the name, Societa?
Name of the person who comes up 3 times.
The name is Ung Chain In. Ung Chain Im.
I see that you found the name. Now that name, Mr. Witness, appears 3 times in 3 different lists. Do you know whether it happened, maybe to say one list is from the East Zone and the 2 others are people from the Northeast Zone? Does it happen that people are mentioned on different lists?
Mr. President, indeed, it's a bit complicated, as the Council warned us. I can't really follow what's happening. Indeed, there's Im Chain under the Northeast Zone in document E3/2251. So could the defense at least read out the headings of the other documents so we can understand what's happening? Because it's in Khmer, maybe your national colleague could assist us in that regard, so we can have at least a summary translation, immediate summary translation of the object of these 2 other documents, so that we can know if they do indeed come from different zones, which to me is not clear. Thank you.
May I, Mr. President? The first document is E3/2251. EON in Khmer 00086783. In number 5. And the name is Chain Im, alias Sifa, age 40 years old, female, wife of a contemptible Bud or a Bud, and the interrogator's name is Tui. And the second document is E3/9898. Eon in Khmer 00011226 in number 3, and the title is Northeast Zone. The name is Chain Im, alias Sipa, age 40 years old, female, the wife of contemptible Bud, and the interrogator's name is Tui. And the third document, E3/9897, EON in Khmer 01011214. The title of the document is Prisoners from the Northeast Zone. And the name is Chain Im, age 40 years old, and this person alias name is Sita. Thank you, Mr. President.
That's the only list I can read is the last one. Is the date everywhere 24/10/78?
That's a difficult question because we're all having the same problem. I'm getting input from my Khmer team members, so I cannot answer that question because I cannot read Khmer. But maybe my co-counsel.
Lawyer. In one column, it states 24th October 1978. The dates, all the dates are the same, and I cannot indicate for sure whether that is the arrest date, but the dates are the same, 24th October 1978.
Mr. Witness, are these indeed the same? Is this the same person mentioned 3 times? And if yes, is that something that happened on more than one occasion?
There was only one list sent out. I do not know why the same name appears 3 times in the document, in the documents. And usually there was a small note handed out to the typist indicating the name of the one who had been interrogated, the interrogator's name, and other details. President, I thank you very much, and it is now time for the adjournment. The Chamber will resume its hearing on Wednesday, 7 June 2016 at 9 a.m. Tomorrow, the Chamber will continue hearing the testimony of Suti to the conclusion, and then proceeds to hear 2 TCW 916. Please be informed and please be on time. Thank you, Mr. Witness. The hearing of your testimony has not come to an end yet. You are invited to be here again tomorrow at 9 a.m. I am grateful to you as well, Mr. Mom, the Duty Counsel. You are also invited to be here also tomorrow at 9 a.m. Court officers, please work with the vessel to send Mr. Susti back to the place where he is staying at the moment, and please invite him back to testify before the chamber tomorrow at 9 a.m. Security personnel are instructed to bring Noon Chien Kyo Sampon back to the detention facility of the ECCC and have them return into the courtroom before 9 a.m. And the chamber was informed the presence of 2 CCW 916 as well at the detention facility of the ECCC. And security personnel are instructed to bring 2 TCW 916 to the waiting room under this courtroom as well tomorrow. However, the waiting rooms for the witness 916 and the waiting room for the accused shall not be the same. The court is now adjourned.